Hi, this is Zoo, and we're working on our practice quiz number 3, actually not 2. We're covering 1.10 and 8.2. Today a new concept we learned was about HOY VUX, so you do need to know that as well for tomorrow's quiz. Let's go ahead and look at problem number 2 first. Our equation is y equals negative 3x. I want to set up a chart and go ahead and look in your foldable for our notes. I always begin with an x in my first column. I then put the equation in my second column, and in my third column I'm going to get solutions x, y as coordinates in ordered pairs to then graph and get a linear a line basically. The three x's that I want to first pick, so the first step is to pick 3 x's. Looking in our notes, so I'm going to just do 1 and 0, 1, and 2. I'm going to plug that in, so that's step 2. I'm going to plug and chug. That way I'm going to get a y. And so the equation is y is equal to negative 3 times x. So if I do negative 3 times 0, then that's going to get me 0. So the first solution is 0, 0. I'm going to use so 0 because I chose the 0 for the x. I'm going to do that for the next question here. I'm going to do negative 3 times 1, which gives me negative 3. So my second solution is 1, negative 3. Second solution, and maybe I could do that mentally. I'm going to do negative 3 times 2. I'm plugging in 2. So that's going to give me 2 and negative 6. So negative 2 times negative 3. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. So these are my 3 solutions that I'm going to plot on my graph. So that's the third step. I'm going to plot and connect when I'm done. 0, 0 is right here. Remember that 0, 0 is also known as the origin. So that's the name of the point that we call origin, 0, 0. 1, negative 3 would be in quadrant number 4 down here. So this is quadrant 4, just a quick review. 2, negative 6 is going to be right down here, also in quadrant 4. And a brief review, quadrant 1 is in which section of our coordinate plane? Right at the top right. Quadrant 3 at the bottom left. And quadrant 2 is right here. So it creates a letter C when we come around. That's how we remember the quadrant order numbers. Going back to our graph, now we have this nice straight line here as we connect. Again, extend your line. Looking for arrows tomorrow. Each question is worth 3 points. So what am I looking for each of these points to receive? One, that your points are in the correct place. 2, that you drew a line with arrows. And thirdly, that I see your work here and I can see your ordered pairs. So I'm looking for ordered pairs. Okay, I'm looking for the correct graph, so the correct line, and I'm looking for arrows on the line for 3 points each. Number 3, we have, I'll go down here. Okay, this is number 3. I have y is equal to 5. So if you look in your notes today, because we see a y equal, we're going to either use HOY or we're going to use VUX. And since I see a y, I'm definitely using HOY. So HOY tells me that the H is, I am going to draw a horizontal line. That's the H. The O is actually a 0. That's 0 slope. And that part we have not gone into detail about. And then the y just means for any equation that has a y only, then it would be a y equals and then any number. So in my problem, it's y is equal to 5. So I'm going to go to the y-axis, and we're going to find 5. So here's 5 on the y-axis, not here, not here. So then here I'm going to draw a horizontal line, here, just like that. Just as simple as that. I could create a little simple chart where y is always going to be 5, 5, 5, so I can just write 3 5s, which means I can pick any x. So I'm going to pick 0, 1, 2. So if I actually plot 3 of those points, it will end up on these 3 points, which is still on the line. It's just a quick way to verify that my answer is correct. And again, HOY is just kind of a quick way to help us remember how to graph variables that linear equations with just one variable. The back side of the worksheet, we have very simply, it's not really too difficult here. I don't think we had too many questions about graphing or the quadrants. But for number 1 on the back, we've got letter C, which is at 1, 0. And when I go to graph that 1, 0, that's actually going to be on the x-axis right here. Okay, that's letter C, and not here. Not here. Okay, that's just a common mistake. Okay, our x-axis is the horizontal number line. Horizontal number line in a coordinate plane. That is the definition of our x-axis. Okay, so this is also problem number 2, letter C, from the back side, the x-axis, which then means that letter E, the y-axis, is the vertical line in the coordinate plane. Okay, and then as you're doing that, number 3, at the bottom, what you need to do is you need to first interpret the graph and then just write a word problem. So as you are interpreting the graph, we can see that, wow, okay, this person is making $5 for 50 hours. Eek. Who'd want that job? Probably little 3-year-olds are getting that type of a price. I know, type of rate. But based on that information, just create your own word problem. Okay, and it can be as simple as, my 2-year-old nephew gets paid $1 per 10 hours of work, and maybe that's work like picking things up around the house, putting his shoes on, making sure that he puts his dishes away after eating, or helping to wipe things. And so, when you're talking about 2-year-olds, those are kind of training items. But then you can create your own word problem. And for part B, for the equation, we can go ahead and just leave that blank for now. Okay, because I'm not really going to quiz you too much on that. But what I do want you to see is to understand that as we see lines, they do correspond with real life situations, like in this one where you worked a number of hours and you received a specific pay. Okay, and we can create an equation for this. The equation, if you're curious, is y equals to 10x actually 1 over 10x, meaning that y is the dollars that you get, and x is the hours that you work. So this means that for every 1/10 of an hour, you get $1. Oh no, 10 hours. So it was 10. I'm sorry. So 10 times x. Right. Alrighty. Have a great day. Actually, I do want to briefly go over HOY VUX with you. So here's a little kind of comic strip that says, HOY VUX. And he's thinking, and he's like, well, HOY VUX can help me remember the equation and slope of horizontal and vertical lines. That is what HOY and VUX stand for. So, the little man says, great wisdom comes when in sun and sand, because he realized that HOY helps him remember that H is a horizontal line that has a zero slope, and the Y equals is our equation with no X. And for VUX, we have V standing for vertical line, and the U is our undefined slope, and the X is the equation for our linear equation for vertical lines. Some quick examples. There's HOY. There's an example where Y is equal to 2. So crossing the Y axis, right at the 2, we draw a horizontal line. Again, Y equals 3, we would draw a horizontal line at the 3 for the Y axis. Y equals negative 2, we would draw a line across the negative 2 in our coordinate plane. Oops, sorry, let me leave that there for a second. Okay, and see, those are some points on there where you notice that Y is always negative 2 no matter what you want to choose for your X's. Here we go for the VUX, vertical line. So we have vertical line. And see this undefined slope. Nobody would want to ski down that. Eee! Snowboarders or skiers out there, woo woo! We've got, that's actually considered undefined slope. Another one over here is where X is equal to 4. So we go to the X and we draw a vertical line at the 4. Let me go back. And those are some just quick examples. See you tomorrow.